This is spoiler chat for John Wick: Chapter 4. If you have not seen the movie and you don't want to be spoiled, then you should not be listening and or watching this. If you have seen the movie or you don't care about spoilers, then listen on, because we're going to talk openly and honestly about the cinematic masterpiece that is John Wick: Chapter 4. Let's do it. John Wick dies. What?
Does he?
I mean, there's supposed to be a fifth movie, so
Yeah. So
yeah, he dies.
No, here's my interpretation.
Okay.
Of what happens. Okay. Well, my interpretation number one, they leave it pretty open ended so they could make a fifth one if they wanted to. But I'm pretty sure they had a green light at a fourth and fifth at the same time, because they were supposed to be shot back to back. So
they definitely talk like that.
Yeah.
In the press. Yeah.
So yeah, at the end, John Wick appears to be mortally wounded. Which, by the way, how cool is it that this movie ended with a duel? Like, it wasn't, let's have the big guy fight the other big guy. Like, you thought this would be, I thought this would be like a big showdown between him and Donnie Yen, which they already kind of had a fight earlier. And this is just a duel, which I thought was a really interesting way and went against expectations to end this movie.
It definitely went against expectations, but it was kind of slow.
Well, this whole movie could have been a little slow.
Well, compared to like what led up to it.
And also the actual way that he won the duel, it banked on a lot of assumptions about what everyone would do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think he used the opportunity. I think he thought he was down for the count based on what happened, but then the Marquis made the choice to finish it him for himself, and that's when.
But not even according to duel rules, right? Doesn't he have to wait for they both reload anyways? Like you can't just shoot the guy.
He never shot in the first place. That was the whole point.
He
still had a loaded gun.
Third one.
No, I'm talking about the Marquis. Like, why did he think that he's allowed to just now go and shoot him without them saying, okay, now
he
ready
says,
and fire?
Eagerness.
Okay, now I'm going to take over.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can take over.
No, take over, yes, but that doesn't mean you get to shoot before the guy says fire. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just okay, now I'm going to go shoot you.
Yeah.
Doesn't he have to wait for the guy to start the next round if he thinks that everyone's shot their shots?
I don't think he cared, and I think he was just too excited to be like, I'm be the one who finishes off John Wick.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's just a funny time to just suddenly
throw the rules
disregard these sacred rules of the duel.
Well, he's kind of a rash character anyway.
Time.
I mean, his response to everything is to blow up hotels. By the way, I thought that hotel was going to crumble when the Continental they blew up at the beginning of the movie.
Uh-huh.
That looked like a controlled demolition.
It was.
No.
What did you want them to do?
The building's still standing.
From the sky?
No, the building's still standing.
Well, for sure, but it was still a controlled demolition.
Yeah, but I thought it was going to be like a controlled demolition drop, like just how those explosions went off by the floor. Floor by floor. Reminds me of when you see those and then buildings just drop straight down.
Sure, but they didn't do that. You would have seen a dust cloud or something.
I know. I was just surprised that it was still standing. I just assumed they were going to just demolish this building, not just gut it for reverberation later. So, wow, thanks. You just saved me a ton of money. Appreciate that. So, all right. Anyway. So you're right.
Reverberation.
What's the word I'm going? Yeah, refab.
Reverberation.
Reverberation.
Yeah. John Wick: Chapter 4.
Reverberation.
It's just on home HGTV. Number 5. White Elijah 4. What's the word
Crying
I'm going
cat
for?
emoji.
Isn't reverberation a refurb? What's the word?
Refurbishing.
Refurbishing.
Refurbalization.
Refrigeration. Refertilization.
What is what I'm trying to say? That's not refurbation.
Refurbation.
Chweidel Elijah 4. I can't think of words right now.
That's right. If it's not on the page,
a remodel. That's there we go.
Oh, that's what you were trying to think of?
That seems to be the simplified version.
Reverberation.
I would have done things differently, but I'm not the director now, am I?
Okay. Anyway, so John Wick appears to be mortally wounded after this duel that he wins. Yeah. And he says to Ian McShane, "Take me home." Right? Or something
and then
like
you
that.
see his grave.
And then you see his grave. Okay. I'm convinced that he's not dead, that he has faked his death, or Ian McShane has in some way helped fake his death. So that way the world thinks John Wick is dead, but John Wick himself is not dead. He's alive and healing somewhere.
Why fake it? He's no longer a wanted man. He won the duel. He has no obligation to the table. There's no one coming after him.
Sloppy writing?
No. It's because they say like multiple times in these movies that like it never ends.
Right. There's still the high table.
If they want you back in, they're going to find a way to force you back in. Now they didn't do that with John Wick. John Wick, like his wife died, and then he got a dog. Oh, spoilers for John Wick 1. And then somebody killed his dog, and then he started killing people, and that's how he got back in. Right? Wasn't the high table, but there is like a common refrain about how the high table, even if you're out, is going to keep you in their service one way or another.
I thought I was out, but then they sucked me back in.
I don't see the high table being fooled by he's not really dead and he's living off the grid thing. I feel like they're pretty thorough. They would check the grave, and you can't be off grid from the high table.
I don't know. They don't have smartphones, so it might be pretty easy to say off the grid from them.
I don't think so. They can find anyone. And okay, he's probably still alive, I guess, just because that's how things happen. But
because there's John Wick 5 coming out.
But but you saw the end credit scene, right?
The end credits scene,
like
there's a scene at the end.
The very end.
Yeah.
No, I
didn't say the credits.
No.
All right, I will tell you about it in a second. Okay. That's what I think the sequel will be about. But if I'm John Wick, I would find it disrespectful to my wife to have a fake gravestone next to my real wife's gravestone that says faithful husband. I would think that he would not want to do that. Right? I'm just saying, maybe that's how they wrote it, and they're not thinking about that at the time because we're supposed to assume he's dead. But if I'm John Wick, I would not have a fake gravestone that says beloved husband next to my real wife's gravestone. You know what I mean? It just seems disrespectful.
It does seem disrespectful.
After the credits, this is why you should always stay through the credits. There is an end credit scene.
I just didn't think, has John Wick ever done an end credit scene before?
No.
This was the thing they do after the title. It was this is what they added.
John Wick Chapter 4, stay for the credits.
I don't agree with that either. They shouldn't.
Can I tell you what happened?
Willy-nilly add a post-credit scene.
What?
They haven't
established
a pattern in the series.
You're mad because you didn't stay and you didn't see it.
Well,
that's true.
So I thought maybe there'd be a mid-credit scene. Like I've come now to accept that franchise movies have a mid-credit scene. So I will stay through those first set of credits, the stylish ones. And then if something happens, great. And if it cuts right to the scroll, then I'm out.
I always stay for the credits of every movie I see. It's not in case there's an end credit scene, because I usually Google if there is one while I'm like watching the credits. But it's just out of respect for all the people who worked on it. I like to read their names.
Fair enough.
But this one had an end credit scene. You want to hear about it?
I do, yes.
The Donnie, what's his name?
Donnie Yen.
Kane.
IP man.
The Kane character gets reunited with his daughter.
Okay.
He goes to meet her in a public place. He's bringing her flowers. He hasn't been able to talk to her forever to protect her or whatever. I don't know what his story is. But right before he gets to her, and he's blind, remember, so he doesn't know what's going on around him. Right before he gets to her, we see the Osaka Continental's concierge daughter.
Oh, yeah, because she kind of disappeared after that first third of the movie.
We see her sneaking up to him with a knife.
Ooh.
Because he killed her dad.
Yeah.
So it's possible what they're trying to set up for the next John Wick movie is her starting a war with him that escalates. Because now, obviously, I'm sure John Wick will show up because those things happen. But I like to think he's dead and they're moving the franchise onto her.
Because she blames John Wick kind of for the death of her father, right? Just by his presence, just by him being there, led to the henchmen showing up and Donnie Yen, yada, yada, yada.
Totally.
Okay.
But in a more literal way, she blames the guy that did kill him, the blind guy.
Yeah.
Kane.
I don't.
You want to hear what the director said about him dying? About John Wick dying?
Sure.
This was his explanation when asked by comicbook.com, the bastion of, I don't know what you'd call it, journalism. He says there's a duality to the character. That means, quote, there's John, comma, there's John Wick, comma. So you tell me who lives and who died.
So they're saying that John Wick is dead, but John. But wouldn't John be the one buried next to his wife, not John Wick?
Yeah. So he supposedly is also hinting that the fifth movie will be John Wick, the guy who has no, John, the guy who was married, who has been seeking revenge over the course of 4 movies, is dead, and that the fifth movie will just be John Wick the assassin.
Oh, so like
who wants to be an assassin again and is officially back in the world.
No.
According to comicbook.com, are you going to argue with them?
I'm
the
not
bastion
arguing,
of journalism.
I'm not arguing with them. I'm disagreeing with. I don't think it's a good idea.
Of the quote.
You're disagreeing with the director.
No, I don't think the director said that. I think either if you're getting this interpretation from comicbook.com or if this is your own interpretation of what you just read, one of those is wrong.
I would have done
That's not what the director is
differently,
implying.
but I'm not the director now, am I?
I don't think the director is implying that at all.
According to this, he is.
Wait, what does it say that how does he interpret it like that? Does it go on besides the quote? Because the quote does not imply what you just said it implies.
Do you want me to read you the quote says there's 2 relevant paragraphs and you tell me?
No, so you haven't read them yet. So you're just getting that from the quote.
No, they say this somewhere in here. I read it.
How do you know if you haven't read it?
Now I've lost it. I did read it. I read it while you guys were talking. Yep.
There's no reason John Wick wants to be an assassin now that he's like avenged his wife and like, yeah, I want to get back into this game.
He likes gold coins. You like shiny things, okay?
If anything, John Wick the assassin is now dead. And he's free to be a normie named John.
But why would he marry John Wick the assassin next to his wife?
Right.
They didn't. It doesn't say assassin. It says beloved husband.
No, but I'm saying if the metaphor is that John Wick is dead, so we see a gravestone for the metaphorical. Hold on, James. We see a gravestone for the metaphorical death of John Wick, the assassin.
Yeah.
Why would the metaphorical John Wick the assassin be buried next to the wife? You think that the John. If there's John Wick and there's John, right? There's John Wick the assassin and John the husband. John would be the one buried next to the wife.
While I
when
agree
he's
with
actually dead, he should be there. And this other John Wick, who's not, this other is his other identity, should be buried somewhere else.
I agree with Kyle that like the tombstones should say John if we're talking about the husband, because John Wick is the legend, right? That everybody knows about. But who wants just the name John on their tombstone? Like,
is her name Helen Wick?
Sounds like you're some rando that got buried there. Nobody knew your last name. I mean, you're not just gonna have a tombstone that says John on it.
Did he not change his name once he left the assassin world?
His actual name, you mean?
Well, no, his actual name is like something Jonovich. What's his first name? They said it.
Yeah. His Belarusian name.
Yes, Belarus. Yeah. And then, so I got the impression like his assassin name was John Wick. So why wasn't his non-assassin name like John Williams or something? Like,
yeah, why didn't the tombstone say John Ravosnovich or whatever?
Right. The reason is if he's still alive, he wants everyone to know that John Wick is dead.
Oh, that's
so
okay.
That's why he has John Wick on the tombstone.
Yeah,
because John Wick is dead.
Okay, I found the relevant text.
Please.
This was not a quote from the director.
Agreed.
According to Zach, and I agree now that I've reread it. This is how they worded it. However, Stahelski, the director, has also teased that there could be another meaning behind the grave that could mean Wick is still alive and waiting to be drawn back into the world of assassins again.
But why?
The director recently told comicbook.com that there is a duality to the character. Blah, blah, blah. I read the rest of that.
Okay. So the director did not imply at all what you were saying.
They implied it.
Yeah. From there.
Right next to the quote I read. And that's why I was like, oh, he said it. But he didn't. This is fake news. Comicbook.com. I trusted them.
The whole movie is basically saying like, you can't get out, John. You can't get out. There's no way you can get out. There's no way you can get out. And he's going to find the way to get out. And he found the way to get out. And he's out.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the point. That's the arc of the movie. If the next movie is like, oh, I'm glad that wife stuff is over. I cannot wait to get in.
Man,
like that would be
Helen,
so ridiculous.
What a mistake. That was oof.
I'm glad I've avenged her death and I can never think of her again.
Right.
Let's assassinate people. Like I've been holding back.
Anything else spoiler free John Wick 4 related?
I got two quick ones. Yes.
Okay.
All right. One, Lance Reddick. Glad to see him here. Very unfortunate that his character is barely in this movie.
I mean, unfortunate in that way. Fortunate that he was in the movie in the way he was.
Well, yes. I mean, like, I guess from a movie making, I'm so happy for the producers that they decided to kill Lance Reddick's character in this movie, so they don't have to deal with that down the road. Thank you.
No, it worked out
Yeah.
perfectly.
It worked out
Bullet
perfectly for
Not
them.
dodged in this case, but
Oh no!
all right. But backing that up, like Sharon, is that his character's name?
Yeah,
Concierge.
The concierge. Yeah, he has he's a cool character. Just his presence. Lance Reddick's a great actor. Was a great actor. In number 3, he actually gets to be a part of the action. You know, he's out there defending the Continental with John Wick. I was hoping we would get to see more badass Lance Reddick in this 4th one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just because if this is his last role, I mean, he might have other movies coming out, but if this is kind of like, you know, what a lot of people know him for, if this is the last time we're going to see him, but nice if his character had.
Has he ever been like awesome in these movies? Like he's awesome as an actor and as a presence, but he's never fought in these John Wick movies.
No, the 3rd one he did. With
when?
not hand to hand.
James, the one you watched today.
Yeah. Remember when the Continental's being attacked, all the lights are green, like the buses show up with the
you're right.
goons,
You're
right? He's out there with a shotgun. No, he's not doing the hand to hand stuff. Like he's not talented.
He's just
in that
participating
sense.
in a battle, basically.
Right.
Yeah. I gotcha.
I
mean, I'm with you. He's big and menacing looking, and it would have been cool to see him in the mix more often.
Right. Yeah. And then the other one, I've never liked the elder character. Because he's supposed to be this guy who's above the table. Like we keep hearing about the table. We've never actually seen the table. And then number 3, they're like, well, I'm going above the table. And it's the elder character, which I thought was just a stupid idea and never developed.
Was that the guy in the desert?
That's the guy in the desert. Yeah. And then
totally
in this one,
underdeveloped.
right. They don't even bring back the same actor.
Was it a different actor?
It was a different actor. Yeah. James, did you not watch number 3?
I did.
Today.
I think he fever dreamed it.
I told you I was working while I watched it.
Yeah. So
if they were just talking, I wasn't paying attention. It was only during the boom, boom, bang, bang parts I paid attention.
The actor who plays the elder, I can't think of his name, but you would recognize him. Like he's in Wonder Woman. He's in Lahane. That 19
Wonder Woman. Lahane.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe
James would recognize him from Lahane.
No,
I've seen
French.
Lahane. All right, Joker. I know that movie. I recognize everybody in Lahane.
Yeah, I can't think of what his name is. Anyway, yeah, he's in Lahane of all movies.
Sure,
you would recognize this actor. I can't think of his name right now.
Well,
anyway.
Apparently he would not recognize this actor.
So, they had a recognizable, can be named actor playing the elder, undeveloped character in the 3rd one, and the 4th one, for whatever reason, they had a different actor, and this guy was like, you know, you can't touch me just like you couldn't touch my predecessor. I'm like, oh, so we just go through elders? Like anyone could be the elder? They just can cycle through them?
Well, maybe the predecessor died of old age. You don't know.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like you just think that the elder would be like this actual overseeing powerful force, not just some new guy they can put in anytime that some other guy's like, I want to retire. This is enough.
Can I say that it was a little disappointing when kind of halfway through the movie when he's like, I'm just going to kill everybody. I assumed he was going to show up at a table meeting and kill 12 people.
You want to see the high table, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where are they?
But no, we don't see the high table.
No.
There's more movies. I mean, come on. They can't get to everything in 3 hours. They need...
But they could have.
They need another 3 hours.
They could have done what 2 did. I think this one could have been, if it took like the world building of 2 and then the action of 3 and balanced that well, this could have been maybe the best John Wick of all of them. But
according to the reviews, it is the best John Wick.
I know. I'm amazed. I mean, I think people are just leaving with that high of the last hour, and they're like, "This is a 5-star movie."
I mean, that's how reviewers normally work. They just look at the back half and judge it on
Since we didn't letterbox it in the main review, or
Yeah.
letterbox it now.
I forgot that we didn't do that.
Should we?
Let's do it. Let's do it now, and people have to listen to the spoiler review almost to the end. And then,
James, we also do the magic of editing, or you could, I should say.
Forget it. This one's off the rails already. Doesn't matter. Before we do that, though, let's talk. Unless anybody else has more spoilers, I feel like I have another discussion topic that's not spoiler related. Real quick,
is it
future John Wick
related
stuff?
Can we?
Have you guys?
Let's letterbox, and then we can talk future stuff. Let's
Okay.
wrap. Let's put a bow on John Wick 4,
All right.
and then move on.
I give it a 3.5.
I gave it a 3.5.
I'm on that last hour high. This is a 4.
All right.
It could be a 3.5.
Kyle caved with a 4 for some reason. All right. Before we go, I thought it might be interesting to just talk for a minute about future John Wick stuff, because I was doing a little bit of research here, and it's pretty crazy what they got in store. Like, they're making a TV show about the Continental that's a prequel to all the movies. That's going to be on Paramount Plus.
Oh, not going to watch it. Intrigued.
All right. And then they're making John Wick 5, obviously. There's talk of a movie about Donnie Yen's character, Kane, but that's unconfirmed, but there is talk that might happen.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe he's a little aged out to like start his own United States based, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure he's a big enough name to like lead.
He can't Jackie Chan this situation.
Yeah. I mean, Jackie Chan, how old was Jackie Chan when he came to the US?
He was 26 and a half.
That's not true. I think he was in his 40s, maybe.
No,
I don't know.
Are we
I don't know
talking
how
like
old Donnie Yen is,
Rush
but-
Hour or Rumble in the Bronx?
Rumble in the Bronx.
Rumble. I would say he was somewhere in his late 30s. Rumble in the Bronx.
Yeah. Whereas Donnie Yen's like in his early 50s, right?
He's got to be, or he could be older than that.
Okay. Interesting. There's also talk of expanding or spinning off the John Wick film series into The Guy with the Dog from part 4, which I don't care about at all. But evidently some people are interested in that idea. Also, there's a movie called Ballerina that supposedly comes out next year that's in the John Wick world, that's based on the ballerina from John Wick 3. Do you remember there's like a moment where he visits his Belarusian
Angelica Houston
overlord, and she's like constantly digging at a ballerina that's like having a hard time dancing. Supposedly there's a movie about that ballerina.
Is she gonna be an assassin, I assume?
I mean, I would assume.
Okay.
I doubt it's a rom-com. I don't know. I have no clue. And then there's another one called Sophia, which was confirmed in 2022, which is based on Halle Berry's character from part 3.
Okay. Yeah.
And also, the director has announced that the John Wick films do exist in the same universe that the movie Nobody exists in.
Was Nobody
totally
produced by
the same people.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, that would make sense that character from Nobody is in the same, right? It makes sense.
Right. And also he said that he would like for those two films to cross over, or franchises to cross over in a minimalist fashion, whatever that means.
I mean, they got Bob Odenkirk and Keanu Reeves not getting any younger.
Right.
So
they need to do this pretty soon.
If they have all these plans, they got to start doing some major grinding here.
Right. The producer also said that were the two characters to ever share screen time, both of them would be on the same side.
Okay.
Meaning, I guess, good guys. I don't know. Is John Wick a good guy? I mean,
No, he is not a good person.
I mean, he's like a good guy in that, at least in the first movie, he's going to the extreme for sure. But he at least has a altruistic motivation, right? They killed his dog.
But
like he has a reason for revenge.
He's also killing like a lot of doormen who are like, they get paid minimum mob wage to watch a door, and they're getting knifed by this guy who's pissed off that their
Kyle,
boss' son killed a dog.
In this world, there's only one wage. You do a thing, you get a gold coin. That is it.
Yeah.
Also, he didn't kill the doorman in the first movie.
Okay, well, that doorman he didn't kill, but he was killing other doormen.
He doesn't just walk up to doormen and kill them. The ones that attack him, he kills. Yeah, I've never seen him just attack somebody out of the blue. It's always like somebody that's about to attack him. Right? It's not just rando doormen that he's just murdering.
I mean, I would need to watch. I don't know.
I dare you to find one innocent person that he just walks up to and stabs with no provocation whatsoever.
Didn't he run into someone in a car in this movie?
No, anytime he runs into anything, it's always the enemy. In all of them. Like in this movie, it's so ridiculous when they're doing the Arc de Triomphe thing and all these cars are like not stopping. There's like 10 dudes running around kung fu fighting in the middle for like 15 minutes. Not a single cop in sight and none of the bystanders stop.
Right. Two theories. One, no one cares. Or two, they're actually all invisible. And that's what we're going to find out. So, yeah.
Can I do a little fact checking real quick?
Sure.
Please.
Jackie Chan was born in 1954.
Okay.
What year? 54?
54.
Okay, so he was 40 when he rumbled.
His Hollywood debut was in 1980 with The Big Brawl.
No. I'm talking about when people cared about Jackie Chan.
Like his,
making him 26.
He
was born in April. It debuted in August, so he was 26 in 4 months.
Okay, almost 26 and a half.
The only time people who weren't cued into like those kinds of movies knew the name Jackie Chan was Rumble in the Bronx.
That was for sure.
That was when it happened.
A movie he was in 1981 made $100 million.
Right, but he was barely in. That's what I'm saying. Like he wasn't an act. People didn't go to a movie to see Jackie Chan until Rumble in the Bronx. Then it was like the reason you saw that movie was because of the guy above the marquee.
Like that great Vin Diesel movie, Saving Private Ryan.
People remember Vin Diesel and Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, so that was.
But nobody calls it a Vin Diesel movie.
Nobody calls it a Vin Diesel movie. Yeah.
All right, I'm just saying 26 and a half was pretty good.
It's good.
Pretty good guess.
I agree. All right. Anything else spoilery for John Wick or the series? Do we have any predictions before we go for whether they will remove something from the title, keep it the pattern they have as of 4, or go back to putting a subtitle dash subtitle?
It'll be here's what it'll be called: John Wick 5 or John Wick : Chapter 5 dash Daughter's Revenge.
Final fight.
Daughter's Revenge is terrible.
He's not really dead.
No. It won't mention him.
All right.
I mean, he'll be in the trailer, so
Resurrection.
he'll have a pretty good idea. Yeah. Yeah. Those call it John Wick : Chapter 5 dash Matrix Resurrections.
For sure. All right. That's it for John Wick : Chapter 4 spoilers. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. Until then, ta-ta.